Do you know that a single line buried in your divorce decree could quietly siphon off thousands of dollars every year? Most women sign papers assuming alimony is ironclad, only to discover later that tiny loopholes leave them vulnerable to shrinking paychecks, surprise tax bills, and endless legal fights. In this video, you're going to learn the 6 most common mistakes that turn what should be a financial lifeline into a money pit, and exactly how to plug those leaks before it's too late. By the end, you'll see why waiving modification rights, skipping enforcement clauses, or ignoring inflation can cost you far more than you think, and you'll have concrete steps to renegotiate or amend your agreement so it really works for you. Stick around. You won't want to miss the one change that alone can add thousands back into your pocket each year. Most women assume alimony is free money, but the IRS sees it as income. When you don't plan for taxes up front, you can lose up to 30% of each payment before it ever hits your bank account. Imagine Sarah, who budgeted $2,000 a month to cover rent and utilities. After tax withholding, she only pockets $1,400, forcing her to scramble for an extra $600 every single month. This happens because many divorce agreements treat alimony like a casual gift, forgetting that the payer deducts it and you report it as taxable income. Without clear language on who covers the tax burden, you end up holding the bag. Worse, if your ex changes jobs or moves to a higher tax bracket, your net payment can shrink overnight. To lock in your real take-home, your agreement must specify a gross-up clause. That means your ex pays extra to cover your tax bill so you receive the full negotiated amount. It's a simple fix, yet most attorneys overlook it, and most clients never ask. Don't let yourself become the next Sarah. Before you sign, run the numbers with a tax pro. Insist on language that guarantees your net alimony after taxes. It adds only a few lines to the final decree, but it can protect you from losing thousands of dollars every year. And that's just the beginning. Next, we'll reveal why giving up modification rights can lock you into a sinking ship. Think you've locked in a secure payout forever? Not if you waived your right to modification. Many women accept a fixed alimony schedule without realizing life rarely follows a straight line. When income changes, medical bills rise, or retirement looms, you still need flexibility. And without the ability to ask a judge for an adjustment, you're stuck. Take Emily, who agreed to 10 years of payments. 5 years in, her ex lost his job and cut her alimony in half by claiming changed circumstances. Since Emily's agreement barred any future tweaks, she had zero legal recourse. Her mortgage doubled as her payment shrank, leaving her desperate and stressed. Courts expect both sides to anticipate change, but you can tip the scales in your favor. Insist on a clear modification clause that lets you return if things shift. Your ex's earnings, your health costs, or even your job situation. That simple addition keeps the door open, so you're not handcuffed when life throws a curveball. It costs nothing to ask, yet many attorneys breeze past it as standard language. Don't let complacency drain your safety net. Secure the right to revisit terms. Your future self will thank you. But that isn't the only trap. Up next, discover how agreeing to a vague duration can quietly bleed your savings dry. Most women focus on the dollar amount, but few pause to consider Uncle Sam's cut, and that oversight can cost thousands. Alimony used to be tax-deductible for the payer and taxable for the recipient. But as of 2019, that flipped. Now, if your divorce decree doesn't specify a post-2019 clause or tie payments to tax law updates, you could be on the hook for unexpected liabilities. Consider Lisa, who negotiated $3,000 a month thinking it was hers to spend. By year's end, she learned alimony counts as taxable income, so nearly 25% vanished in federal and state taxes. Meanwhile, her ex no longer deducts the payments, freeing up cash to invest while her own budget tightened. Without a built-in tax adjustment, Lisa faced a stiff bill each April, scrambling to cover it out of savings she thought was hers. To avoid her fate, build in a tax neutralization provision. Require your ex to gross up payments so you net the agreed sum after taxes, or include a clause that adjusts alimony if tax laws change. That way, you keep the amount you bargained for, even when Washington decides to rewrite the rules. And just when you think that solves it, there's another hidden snag waiting. Up next, learn why failing to cap healthcare costs can leave you drowning in bills. Your alimony deal might look great on paper, until a medical crisis turns it into a financial sinkhole. When healthcare expenses skyrocket, you don't want to be left scrambling for coverage you never budgeted for. A surprising number of divorce agreements leave women footing the bill for premiums, deductibles, and co-pays that can climb into the tens of thousands each year. Take Marcia's story. She agreed to a flat alimony amount, assuming her ex would handle half of their shared health plan. But when her ex lost his job and let their group policy lapse, Marcia found herself paying full price for a COBRA plan. Over $1,200 a month, and covering expensive specialist visits out of pocket. Her secure settlement suddenly felt more like a noose around her budget. Because her agreement never capped her share of healthcare costs or tied contributions to changing insurance markets, she had no legal recourse and watched her savings vanish. To protect yourself, insist on a clear healthcare provision. Cap your maximum annual out-of-pocket contribution, specify who pays premiums if one party's coverage falls through, and include an automatic review if costs rise faster than inflation. That way, you won't be blindsided when medical bills spike. But even with healthcare under control, there's another silent drain many women overlook. One that can quietly erode years of careful planning. Up next, discover why letting investment decisions go unchecked could cost you more than you ever imagined. Brace yourself. The IRS could show up as the unexpected third wheel in your divorce agreement, and that can drain your wallet faster than any alimony check. Many women forget to factor in the tax implications of their settlement, only to discover that a portion of what they thought was yours ends up vanishing when tax bills arrive. Consider Lisa, who negotiated a generous monthly alimony sum without asking her accountant a single question. Under the old rules, alimony was deductible by the payer and taxed to the recipient. But since 2019, things flipped. Payers no longer get a deduction, and recipients don't report the payments as taxable income. Lisa's ex figured this change worked in his favor, lowering his overall tax burden, while she was left with no tax relief and no warning that her settlement's real value had shrunk by nearly 25%. By the time she realized her net alimony was significantly less than she'd budgeted for, it was too late to renegotiate. To avoid Lisa's fate, always draft your alimony clause with explicit tax language. Spell out which party bears any unforeseen tax increases, or better yet, build in a shared responsibility provision that keeps both of you on the hook if laws change. Ask for a gross-up clause that automatically adjusts payments to cover any extra tax liability you face. That way, you lock in the actual spendable amount you need, no matter how Uncle Sam's rules shift. Next, we'll dive into a trap that hides in plain sight. The way your home is divided can leave you paying maintenance and repairs long after the ink has dried. Most women assume that once the judge signs the divorce decree, the alimony checks will arrive on time, every time. But without clear enforcement language, you're left chasing payments through court, paying more in legal fees than you lost in missed support. Take Marisol, who agreed to a standard pay until further order provision, trusting her ex to do the right thing. 6 months later, the check stopped, and so did her grocery runs and rent payments. Because her agreement lacked any automatic penalties, she spent weeks filing motions, only to see her costs swallow the few alimony installments she finally recovered. To prevent months of uncertainty, demand built-in enforcement triggers. Insist on a late payment penalty, say, 5% of the missed amount, that kicks in automatically after a 10-day grace period. Link non-payment to collateral, life insurance policies, retirement account liens, or even a secured promissory note with your name on a rental property deed. That way, if your ex skips out, you don't have to haul yourself back to court to prove every missed check. You simply enforce the collateral. And don't forget a reserve fund clause. Require your ex to deposit 1 or 2 months' worth of alimony into a joint escrow at closing. That buffer means you still have cash flow even if payments lapse for unexpected reasons. By embedding teeth into your alimony clause, you transform a voluntary promise into a binding obligation. Next, we'll wrap up with how a simple inflation adjustment can protect your future spending power, because the cost of living rarely waits for a divorce settlement. Now that you've seen the 6 costly alimony pitfalls, from waiving basic enforcement measures and overlooking tax traps to skipping inflation adjustments and underestimating your former spouse's true income, take a moment to consider how each one could quietly erode your financial stability over time. These aren't abstract what-ifs, but very real clauses lurking in your divorce papers right now, waiting to drain thousands from your bank account if you don't act. The power to protect yourself comes down to 3 simple steps. Demand clear, enforceable language. Build in automatic safeguards like penalties, collateral or escrow reserves, and keep your settlement tied to the real world with inflation indexing and accurate income disclosures. When you stop treating alimony as a handshake agreement and start treating it as the legal contract it is, you shift the balance back in your favor. and force the system to do exactly what it's meant to do. Secure your ongoing support. If any of these mistakes ring a bell or you're drafting your final papers right now, don't wait until you're chasing late checks or losing ground to rising costs. Go back to your attorney, insist on revisions, and make sure your settlement works as hard as you did to reach it. Your future self will thank you for every extra dollar you save, and for every bit of peace of mind you gain. Before you go, share which tip surprised you the most in the comments below, and let us know if you've already included any of these clauses in your own agreement. If you found this video helpful, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss insider advice that can protect your pocket and your peace of mind through life's toughest transitions.